Okay, we're going to start the lesson 8 lecture. We're actually going to work out of page 77 in your textbook. Page 77 in your textbook. This is lesson 8. It's one-step equations. One-step equations. We have, for example, number 2. We have n minus 2 equals to negative 5. N minus 2 equals to negative 5. Now they're asking us, in each one of these examples, they're asking us to solve the equation. So the first step would be to isolate the variable. In this case, the variable is n. So when I isolate the n, we simply add 2, add 2. That would give us n equals to negative 5 plus 2. That would give us negative 3. And that is the answer. We can try number 5. Number 5 says negative 3.5 equals to m minus 2.5. So what a lot of people do is, in a case like this, they rearrange it as m minus 2.5 equals to negative 3.5. All we did was rearrange it. We copy the negative 3.5 on this side, and we copy the m minus 2.5 on the left-hand side. We have not changed anything. The next step would be to add 2.5 to both sides. We add 2.5 to both sides, and that would give us m equals to negative 3.5 plus 2.5. What is negative 3.5 plus 2.5? That's right, negative 1. Remember, different sign, subtract, and keep the larger. I'm not going to sing it on YouTube, obviously not, but you remember the way that goes. So we subtract and we keep the sign of the larger. That was number 5. Let's try an example that contains fractions like number 6. Let's go ahead and look at number 6. I'm going to use number 6 as a reference question. We have x minus 2/3 equals to 5. X minus 2/3 equals to 5. Now, I am going to do the same procedure. I'm going to apply the same idea. Watch. On this problem, which was number 2, I simply added the 2 to both sides. Well, it's the same thing. The only thing is that now I have negative 2/3. Therefore, I can add 2/3 to both sides. I can add 2/3 to both sides. And that would give me x equals to 5 plus 2/3. In order to add 5 to 2/3 or 2/3 to 5, we're going to need a, that's right, common denominator. We would have 5 over 1 plus 2 over 3. What is the common denominator? That's correct, 3. Stop laughing, Pablo. I'm watching you. Okay, this is 15 over 3 plus 2 over 3. And that would give us 15 plus 2. That would give us 17 over 3. Now, sometimes on some standardized exams, they write this as a mixed number. And remember, to write this as a mixed number, you'd have to divide 17 by 3, which would give us 5. And what? You could say 5 and 2/3. So it's 17/3 or 5 and 2/3. The idea is the same with an integer value, with a decimal value, or with a fraction. The idea remains the same. You are still adding or subtracting to isolate and find the value of the indicated variable. Let's try another one. Let's try number 14. Try number 14. Number 14 says k plus 3 over 11 equals to 8 over 11. What would be the next step here? We subtract 3/11 from both sides, 3/11 from both sides, and that would give us k equals to, do we have a common denominator? The answer is yes. Therefore, we're ready to subtract these fractions. What is 8 minus 3? That would give us 5 over 11. And that's our final answer for number 14. 5 over 11. Any questions? Well, obviously you can't ask the YouTube video for questions, but you can certainly rewind or review the previous examples and see that these are the same principles that are being applied. One more example. This is number 15. We have 4 equals to 2/3 plus c. Go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and pause the video and allow yourself time to work this out. Pause it, Pablo, pause it. Very good. Okay, we can rewrite this equation without changing anything. According to the rules we learned in the last section of the last chapter, we may write this as c plus 2/3 equals to 4. We're just changing the way it looks. Cosmetic fix here. Now, what are we going to do? That's correct. We subtract 2/3 from both sides. 2/3 from both sides. And we're left with c equals to 4 minus 2/3. I have a question. Do we need to find a common denominator? Very good, Carlo. Yes. Yes, Carlo de Leon. We do have to find a common denominator. That would be 4 over 1 minus 2/3. Ms. Hunter, turn around, ma'am. Okay. Now, what do we do here? The common denominator would be 3. We multiply that by 3. And that would give us 12 over 3 minus 2 over 3. And what's 12 over 3 minus 2 over 3? That's correct. 10 over 3. I'm so proud of you. I'm really very, very proud of you. How would you write that as a mixed number? Perfect. You would write that as 3 and 1/3. 3 and 1/3. Any questions on these type of equations? These are solving using the addition property of equality. Tomorrow we're going to continue solving equations with the multiplication property of equality. Multiplication and reciprocal property of equality. Thank you.